Hey, this is Chris. Now, at the moment in Australia, super is a really hot topic because the government's putting in a lot of new changes. People have been really focused on their super due to the early release scheme in 2020 and just generally being more interested in financial markets. So I'm going to be sharing my 3 tips for what you should not be doing with your super because there's a lot out there on what you should be doing, but I don't think enough is said about what you should be trying to avoid. And the first one, it's becoming unfortunately a little bit more popular these days, is trading shares. So trading has become pretty hot over the last year, and it's tempting for a lot of people where they can to use their super to start to punt shares, buy in and out, try and time when to get in out of the market. Unfortunately, all of the evidence shows that only a tiny percentage of people can successfully beat the market by trading over the long run. A study in Brazil actually showed that across a whole cohort of people using an online broker, only 1% was able to be profitable for a few years. So it's really incredibly difficult to do well trading shares unless you're doing it professionally. And even if you are doing it professionally, not many are successful. So I'd say, unless it's your full-time job, don't be trading your super. It's a really risky strategy and it's going to rob you of your future because you're not going to be able to enjoy the benefits of compound growth if you make a few bad calls and lose money by putting too much money into a certain stock. So as much as it might be tempting, and you might know others that are doing it, or you might hear stories of other people that have made profit out of it, just avoid it. You don't need to be doing it with your super. It's a huge gamble and it's really not worth it to take away your retirement savings. The next one is related, which is I would avoid trying to time the market when it comes to your super. And it's something a lot of the super funds reported during the COVID market correction of 2020, that when markets started to fall, a lot of people yanked their money out of high growth funds and growth funds and put it into conservative funds or cash. And most people did it at exactly the wrong time. They did it in March 2020, close to the market lows. Then the market rebounded 40% and they were sitting in cash. This happens time and time again. It happened in the financial crisis as well. As long as you're in a strategy that's right for your investment time horizon, you should not be trying to time the market, because by the time the bad news is out there, everybody already knows it. It's already embodied in the prices. You don't have any edge over all of the other traders out there. Just leave your super there. Don't touch it. Don't try and get in and out of markets. You're almost definitely going to make the wrong move, and all of the super funds have reported this mistake recently. And the third tip I'll share when it comes to your super and what you shouldn't do is don't think that by having your super across multiple different super funds, you're somehow getting some sort of diversification benefit across funds. While it might be true to a small extent, really high growth funds are very similar to other high growth funds, particularly if they all have low fees. And really all you're doing is doubling up on your administration fees. And a lot of super funds these days still charge admin fees of 50 or 100 or even more per year, and that will compound over many years as well. So consolidate your funds, have all of your money in one super fund, provided it meets all of your other needs around insurance and advice, for instance. You don't really need to diversify across different super funds because all it means is you're doubling up on your fees. This is really important because there are millions of Australians that have multiple super funds at the moment. I don't think they're doing it to diversify. I think in a lot of cases, people simply don't know that they have multiple funds because they've had different employers, or they have multiple funds for other reasons. The good news is the government's trying to stop this by creating this concept of stapling, where your super fund actually moves with you from job to job. But if you haven't already done this, I would recommend consolidating your super because it's going to reduce your fees and make sure you're going to get a great long-term outcome. And they're my 3 tips for what you should be not doing when it comes to your super.